the heart of Botswana's unforgiving Kalahari desert, a veterinarian faces a life-or-death struggle with an emaciated lion on the brink of extinction. Meet Thomas Keller, a man whose compassion and determination defy the odds in a race against time. When he discovers Leo, a lion that's lost all hope, he refuses to give up, no matter the cost. This is the incredible, heartwarming story of survival, healing, and an unbreakable bond between a man and a lion. Prepare to witness a miraculous transformation that will restore your faith in the power of nature, compassion, and second chances. Thomas Keller, a German veterinarian, is working in Botswana on a wildlife rescue mission. He resides close to the Central Kalahari Game Reserve, one of the most extreme regions in southern Africa. Every day he drives his pickup truck, delivering medicine to check on wildlife hotspots. Over time, he has saved many animals, including antelopes, elephants, leopards, and injured lions, but he had never faced a situation that moved him quite like one did. One November afternoon, while patrolling the western edge of the Central Kalahari, Thomas encountered a lion. The sun was intense, and near a dry puddle, he found a heap of golden fur lying still. As he got closer, he realized it was a full-grown male lion. The animal was so emaciated that its bones were visible beneath its skin. Its body appeared to be nothing more than skin and bones. Its eyes were half closed, its breathing shallow, and its chest was sunken. Thomas crouched down and gently touched the lion's shoulder, thinking it had already passed away. But then he met the lion's weak, pleading eyes. This was not the gaze of a wild animal, but that of a creature begging for its life. He took the first photo and sent it to the rescue center, then began performing first aid on the spot. With no phone signal and no help available, he was alone with the dying lion. But he made a decision not to abandon it. If there was any chance, no matter how small, he would not walk away. From that moment on, an extraordinary bond began to form between the man and the lion. Thomas used an emergency IV, inserted a needle into a vein, and slowly administered saline solution. He also injected a small dose of antibiotics and painkillers, then covered the lion's frail body with a thermal blanket. As darkness fell, Thomas stayed by its side, leaving the car lights on, sitting next to the lion all night. The lion barely moved, occasionally taking a deep breath, as though the wind was rustling through sand. Thomas gently placed his hand on its back and whispered, "If you want to live, trust me." By dawn, he managed to pick up a weak satellite signal and sent a distress message to the center. The Wildlife Center responded, promising to send a helicopter at the earliest opportunity. All through the night, he monitored the lion's temperature, administered fluids, and kept watch over every breath, as if he was safeguarding a fragile flame. He decided to name the lion Leo, a simple yet strong name. In the vastness of the sky and earth, only the car lights, Leo's heartbeat, and Thomas remained. When the helicopter arrived, the paramedics were taken aback by how severely emaciated Leo was. They carefully placed him on a stretcher, continued the fluids, and rushed him straight to the emergency room. Thomas followed closely behind in the helicopter, keeping the IV bottle in place throughout the nearly 300-kilometer flight to the Mon Wildlife Hospital. Chief Veterinarian Elise McCona assessed Leo's condition and said it was grim. The lion's hind legs had no reflexes. His spine was damaged, muscles had atrophied, and his internal organs were showing signs of failure. She bluntly stated that if Leo survived, he would never walk again, much less hunt. But Thomas was resolute. "We're not giving up," he said. "Let's give Leo one last shot." The spinal surgery took 8 hours, with the goal of relieving pressure on Leo's spine. After the procedure, Leo was placed in the ICU, where he continued to receive nutrition and antibiotics. Thomas took a full month off to care for Leo, staying by his side the whole time. He slept on a folding bed just outside the cage, feeding Leo small amounts of meat porridge mixed with electrolyte solution. 3 weeks later, Leo still couldn't move, but his heart rate and breathing had stabilized. One morning, Elise entered the room and burst into tears when she saw Leo's tail twitch for the first time. The team immediately started physical therapy, gently stretching his stiff muscles and working to restore his reflexes. Leo didn't resist, always looking for Thomas whenever he left the room. It was as though Leo was fighting for his recovery alongside everyone. The medical center was filled with hope, and Leo's first steps after 2 months became a viral sensation on social media. Leo's transformation from a dying animal to a symbol of nature's healing power was awe-inspiring. Thomas and Leo became so close that a simple touch from Thomas would make Leo purr like a kitten. Whenever Thomas left the room, Leo would anxiously search for him, a sight that moved the nurses deeply. Leo was calm during each therapy session, never showing any aggression or frustration. Thomas would tell stories, play soft music, and even leave his voice recorder on to comfort Leo when he stepped away. Despite his frail body, Leo began to stand and take his first tentative steps. The entire medical team was overjoyed by this miraculous recovery, something they had never seen in a lion before. Leo was no longer just a patient. He had become a symbol of life's resilience, even for creatures once thought beyond saving. One early morning, Leo walked out of the cage, gently tugged at Thomas's shirt, then turned and began walking away. Intrigued, Thomas followed him, wondering what Leo had planned. They traveled almost 3 kilometers through dry forests and thorny bushes until Leo finally stopped in a clearing where a pride of lionesses was gathered around their cubs. The lionesses, initially cautious, stood still as they saw Leo, seemingly welcoming him back. Leo made a low, reassuring sound, signaling that Thomas was a friend, not a threat. Thomas stood a few meters away, overwhelmed by the sight, a scene he had only imagined in fairy tales. Leo wasn't just returning to the wild, he was introducing Thomas to his true family. It was a deeply moving moment as humans were allowed into the lion's world. Thomas could hardly contain his emotion, tears streaming down his face as he witnessed this sacred act of acceptance. He didn't need words to understand the significance of the moment. After returning, Thomas immediately contacted international conservation organizations and the Botswana Ecological Authority, proposing the implementation of an emergency drought rescue program for lions in the Kalahari region. Water trucks and drinking troughs were installed in the areas where the lions frequented. Thomas returned with Leo to check the water sources, ensuring everything was working smoothly. During the hot season, lionesses and their cubs drank from the troughs without hesitation, as if they understood that the humans were helping them. Leo had become a living bridge between 2 worlds, between the lions and the conservation staff. A photo of Leo walking between the herd and the staff was shared widely on global conservation channels, touching millions of hearts. Once a dying lion, Leo had now become a symbol of hope for others in need. Botswana became the center of a global conservation campaign, with Leo serving as a living symbol of the power of nature's recovery. Thomas believed that not only had Leo come back to life, but he had also brought life to the entire Kalahari lion pride. Leo was regularly monitored, living the rest of his days near a protected area where he would be safe from the threat of poaching. Thomas continued to visit Leo often, walking with him along the dusty roads. In 2019, Leo didn't wake up one morning, lying still in the middle of the yellow grass as though he were simply sleeping. Thomas held him one last time, whispering softly, just as he had the first day they met in the desert. Leo was laid to rest near the spot where they had first met, with a headstone that read, "We trusted each other." The memorial service was attended by global conservation organizations. From being a dying animal, Leo had become an eternal symbol of faith and rebirth. The story of Leo and Thomas spread across the world, inspiring generations of nature lovers. It proved that animals have emotions, thoughts, and a deep belief in human compassion. And when even one person believes in miracles, the world can change forever. Thank you for taking the time to follow Leo's journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us. Second chance Leo so bravely earned.